Crystal Powell, what's up? How you doing?
I am doing wonderful. How are you today? Thanks for having me.
Oh no, I appreciate it. So, how's the whole COVID situation been for you?
Whew. Well, I'm happy and grateful to be alive and healthy and still with a place, a roof over my head. But COVID has been strenuous, like, because California is one of the states that we're still not open. Like, I've started doing comedy again. We're getting back on the road, but there's no place. There are a couple of outdoor places that we can actually do some stand up, but we're not open. So it's really been tough. But just things like this, as far as, you and I talking virtually, it's showing us that, we can still get inside people's living rooms if we want. We just got,
Oh yeah.
anytime you got to pivot, you got to figure out what the next best move is. And that's what's going on so far.
So, what have you started doing as for hobbies during the quarantine? Have you been doing like a lot of what Netflix that a lot of people do, or have you tried to go outside and doing stuff?
Well, I will tell you, like that. So on that note, on the health tip, as far as my working out, just because, and shout out to all my candy corn lovers out there because it is the season.
Oh yeah.
So I eat horribly, and I knew that I couldn't sit at home and get fat. So at first I got into. I'm a cyclist now. I'm up to like 25, 30 miles when I get on my bike. But my latest deal that I've been studying the last couple of months is jujitsu and Muay Thai. And I am excited about it. Like, it's really shredded my body. Like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but not, no, but it really, really, of course, I've got more pounds that I want to lose. And that's what I keep trying to tell them. Like, I'm never going to fight anyone, ever. At least I don't think so. I don't know. The way this climate is set up right now,
Yeah.
it might be time for me to know my left hook and from my jab to my cross. But I just got into it to, try to lose some weight and get fit. And now I'm addicted to it. Like, every day, like when I'm not working out, that's really what's gotten me through COVID because,
Oh yeah.
I live alone. So, and we're not open. And the best deal is my girlfriend, Team Bully Buster, she owns that gym. So it's like a small family. We're not allowing a lot of people in there. And it's truly what saved me. If I didn't have it, it's really given me something to look forward to and to get my mind off of what's on the news and what's on social media and what's surrounding me, even though I still want to know about it. But sometimes you got to just take a break.
Oh yeah. Well, and I
Yeah.
did see some postings of you actually doing some, I guess, training and stuff, and you were kicking hard. And I mean, I do a little boxing myself, so I can tell like you really can kick some ass.
Well, I don't know about kicking nobody's ass, but I know for sure I can kick the hell out of a bag. So much to whereas CBD oil is my new best friend. I don't
Oh
know
yeah.
if I have more hand sanitizer or CBD oil and aspirin, but either way, it's keeping me sane. It's keeping me fit and healthy, keeping my mind occupied, and I love it. I'm super excited about it.
Well, CBD is pretty popular, especially for with like martial art fighters and UFC fighters. So, how do you feel
Yeah.
that it helps you?
I feel that it helps me. Well, one thing about myself, this is a fun fact about myself. I can share this with you guys because I learned it myself since I've been fighting. Well, training, not fighting, but training. I didn't know that in my sleep I cross my legs.
Hmm.
So now I know because when anytime I cross my legs and one leg is on the other, it wakes me up out of my sleep immediately
Oh
because it's
wow.
so painful from kicking the bags. So CBD definitely it helps me out. Like there's one I wish I could even plug them. That's how great it is, and this is a free plug. But I put it on my leg on my shins because everyone in the Muay Thai world says you don't need your shin. That's a bat. I'm like, I need my shin. I
Oh yeah.
want my shin and I need it. But I put it on before before I work out, after I work out, and and I can sleep through the night because I was getting ready to get rid of my down comforter just because it was so heavy on my shins and it was just so painful when I would go to bed at night. But now with my CBD oil, I'm all right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I usually use it for the drops to help me go to sleep, but I do like do vaping sometimes, especially if I go to the
Mm,
beach and relax. I mean, I do a lot of exercise myself. I try to do a variety of things. I'm always doing yoga too, just stretching my body out just because I suffer through back
Mm.
pain. But yeah, I feel like CBD oil really helps me a lot, especially in your mood. It really just makes you more of a calmer person.
Yeah, and I that's good for you because I just had massage the other day, and then I had them stretch me out. And he was telling me with as intensive a workout that I'm doing, I really need to try yoga. But yoga, listen, everyone thinks that, oh, you're just stretching. Man, my body being just off stretch. So kudos to you and all the yoga people out there. I want to get into that a lot more because they say it's amazing for your body. For people, like you said, with back pains or muscle pains and cramps and stuff, they say it's really good, and I need that. But I get so embarrassed when, because look, this is how you know, this is what I have real close to me. I had to get one of these guys to cheat because I can't lean all the way down. Like,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not
Oh yeah.
flexible at all. I don't know if that's going to mess up my
Oh
dating
yeah.
game, but I get so embarrassed when I'm like, how is it that I just can't
Oh
even
yeah.
stretch my body? And I'm a girl.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to learn to get better at it. So kudos to you. But I can tell you have a lean frame, and that's what I want. Like,
Thank you.
you know, I got a turkey sausage around my neck as a choker. So
Oh no, you look perfect to me. Don't worry about that.
thank you. I'll take it. I'm one for the compliments. Thank you, sir. I receive it.
And I think I heard somewhere your goal was trying to lose some weight during this quarantine. Is that correct?
Yes. I am down now almost 30 pounds.
Oh, nice.
And as you know, in Hollywood, you know, they want you to be bone thin. And I'm from the South. I love food. Like gravy
Oh yeah.
gets me excited. Biscuit. Like I love food. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
am that person. If I'm having a bad day, I'm going to eat something really good. And I feel like the world should eat what they want. You should be able to eat whatever your
Oh yeah.
tummy wants you to eat. Like if we got to wait, stand in line to vote for 14 hours, doggone it, you should be able to have a cookie or two. Matter of fact, take your cookies to the polls. Okay? While
Yeah.
you waiting in line, eat your cookies all you want, and I dare somebody to say something to you because
Oh
that's just
yeah.
really ugly. Yeah, but I love food, so yeah. I'm trying to lose a little bit more so that I can, because you know that I don't need that extra 10 pounds that the camera adds to you when you do television.
Oh yeah. And
Yeah.
you've been actually cooking a lot more too, or just learning how to cook during the
Look at
quarantine?
you! Come on, come
Oh
on,
yeah.
research. Yes. Because at first I was so, listen, I didn't realize about this about myself, but I am a huge worry wart. I'm a little bit on the paranoid side. And I used to believe in, if it wasn't me going out to eat, I was a Grubhub, DoorDash, Postmates. But then during the pandemic, I kind of got a little worried about it because this is when the media was saying, oh, it's airborne. It's not
Oh
airborne. It
yeah.
can live on a hard subject. Like, I didn't know what to do. So I was just like, all right, if you hungry, you going to figure out and learn how to cook.
Oh
And
yeah.
I went and got this little like iron cast grill to go on top of my stove, and it was the best thing that I could have done. So yes, I can cook now. It's still not like my sisters and like my Aunt Betty's and people back from home, because I can't even call them to ask them for direct recipe, because they don't want it. They don't believe in a tablespoon and a 3/4 or a cup. They be like, just put a tinge of flour and a tinge of sugar. What is a tinge?
Oh yeah.
First off, you know what I mean? And I'm like,
Yeah.
how am I gonna learn how to cook? So it's nothing like theirs, and I would never put my dish next to any of the women in my family.
Yeah.
However, it's good enough for me. I'm not having to go to urgent care. I'm not having any food poisoning. And it actually, some of it is really, really good. Like some of it, I'm telling you, but it could be better, and I'm learning, and I'm excited about it because it gives me something to do. I have my apartment is so many, it's a gym, it's a kitchen, it's a studio, like it's a cinema in the back. Like we just had to make do. We had to make do. But the question is, now that we've found out that we can do all these things and we can make life just with this, what are you going to do when you are able to go back? Are you going to just be like, I'm ready to get back? Or are you going to say, I'm kind of cool in my place where
Oh
it's
yeah.
safe because I made it work?
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
one thing I've been trying to do is, since I live near the beach, I got into spear fishing, but I haven't caught
Ooh.
any fish, but I'm trying to get to the point where I catch it, and then I was gonna what's it called? Like remove the scale.
Yeah.
And I heard you actually mention that you know how to remove scales with a spoon. I have a knife, but
Yes.
I never heard of
So,
a
all you
spoon.
got to do is get you a tablespoon, you get you a perch, and you
Oh
and
man.
that'll take the scales off. Yes, I am a country girl. I grew up on deer sausage and squirrel meat. I would
Oh
never
nice.
eat squirrel meat again because I saw a video online of a squirrel tearing up a cobra snake. And I'm like, I don't think I should be eating anything that can kill a cobra.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, we used to fish growing up. We had a huge, like, I can't remember how big, but it was really, really large, at least maybe a block, and it was a hog pen, and it was full of like feces and yuck and all this.
Oh
And me
man.
and my cousins, I can say it out loud, I'm okay with it, we would jump out of the truck and get in that shit,
Oh wow.
literally.
Oh
And I'm
wow.
like, what were you thinking? But I'm also the kid that grew up drinking out of a water hose when I was outside because my mama was not having it in and out, in and out. First off, at 6 and 7, how dare I ask my mama for a bottled water? It's
Oh
like it's
yeah.
a water hose out there. You let it run for the first couple of seconds to let everything come on out,
Oh yeah.
and then you let the cool water catch up, and you turn your head to the side and you drink the water, and then it's gonna run all the way to the side by
Oh
your ear.
yeah.
But you were a cool kid. You were okay. So I'm glad that I grew up in a small country town. I think it gave me my manners today. Like if somebody holds the elevator for me, I'm gonna thank you. Or if someone lets me over in traffic, I'm gonna throw my hand up and say thanks. And I think that all comes from growing up in the South because I was crazy when I moved to New York and was like, what? They call this the melting pot? This can't be the melting pot. Nobody gives me eye contact in the elevator. And they're like,
Oh
oh
yeah.
no, that's just New York. And I was like, so you don't even wave or speak or say hello?
Yeah.
Like they were like, they think you're an insurance adjuster because you keep saying hello to everyone. I was like, man, and that comes from the South. That comes from
Oh
the
yeah.
South.
You're actually part of an interesting tour in which you're currently doing the Vivica A. Fox Funny by Nature comedy tour. I think I've heard it's also they're doing it virtually too, and also in other locations. And I think they're I've heard going to Houston as well. So
Yes.
how's that tour coming along?
That tour is coming up, going great. We first started before the pandemic, and we were super excited about it. And then of course pandemic started, and then we had a show because we've gone through so many different breaks during this whole pandemic. So July 1st weekend, we were in Atlanta. That was going to be like our test run to see how it was going to be. And
Yeah.
I'll promise you, I was just like worried. I was like, nobody's going to come. Why are we doing this? And, because they had limited seating, so they have
Yeah.
to cut down occupancy. And for as many seats that we were allowed to have, they were sold out. There were seats and seats. And I was just like, oh my God. So I was
Yeah.
excited, but we were nervous at the same time. And so this time that we're coming up next weekend will be the first time that we've done it. Since then, we took another hiatus just to see how we all felt about it. And I'm excited about it because everyone's, like you mentioned, everyone's not comfortable being out. So we are
Yeah.
allowing them to watch it virtually. You can go to besmoothent.com. And yes, on Friday, we'll be in Austin at Victory Grill. Saturday, we're in Houston at Grooves. And then Sunday, we're in Dallas at Hyenas. But all three of those shows can be seen virtually just by going to besmoothent.com. So I get it. Like, people think that the whole cliche saying, oh, you got to laugh to keep from crying. Like, seriously, like, if I were to take myself so super seriously, like, I got so upset today that I got a shirt out of the cleaners, wore it for one meeting, and I was like, ooh, I'm just going to change my hair and change my lipstick. But of course,
Yeah.
Greedy Gumdrops got pasta all over my
Oh
chest.
man.
And I had to just laugh at first. I was like, man, I just got this out of the cleaners. When you get stuff out of the cleaners, at least I do. I wear it 2 or 3 times. It's not just a one banger and out of there.
Oh yeah.
So you got to laugh at yourself. And that's what we need. Like, we have to be able to not take ourselves so serious, because we do know that we have some more serious, things that we need to tackle and talk about. So it's okay to give yourself a break, not be super hard on yourself, because that's what we love to do. We love to beat ourselves up. And it's like, we got to stop that, man, because we're going through a rough time. So if you need to eat some Cheetos or some powdered donuts,
Oh yeah.
drink you a beer or have you a goblet of wine, go do it. Do what makes you happy. Because if you're not happy, you can't make the people around you happy, which are your children, your spouses, your families. So take care of you tonight. You need to go home and, do something fancy for yourself. Have you some fun with your beautiful blue eyes. Your earbuds match your eyes. Those
Oh,
are
thank
just
you.
so handsome. Have
Thank
y'all
you.
seen it? I'm sure the listeners are like, we seen it. He handsome. Oh, y'all, I got him blushing. I got him blushing.
Well, you mentioned the virtual shows, so have you got a chance to do any open mics or attending any virtual shows yourself?
Listen, no, I've been doing Zoom comedy,
Mhm.
which if my manager heard me say this, and she probably will, I hate them because I can't get, comics, we live for the crowd. We live for interaction. We
Yeah.
we hear our, a singer is just gonna bah and just finish until their note is done. But with
Yeah.
us, we sit in a joke longer if you're having fun, or we get off a joke or a subject quicker if you're not having fun. So you have no idea what your audience is doing because they're on Zoom. But as far as like an actual show, I haven't had any, and I'm nervous. I have one show tomorrow here in LA with Tiffany King. So I'm happy that way at least my feet will hit a stage before I actually get in front of a paid crowd. And friends of mine that have been doing it after not, performing, they're like, girl, it's like riding a bike. Once you get up there, it's all going to
Oh,
come
yeah.
back. But it's nerve wracking. And I realized that nerves, anytime I got the bubble guts and my nerves is bad and I'm sweating between, behind my kneecaps and up under places that you probably don't know nothing about, that just means I really want to do well. So that just means I want to do well. So I am nervous because I haven't been performing, but I think the world understands that we all need each other. I need to perform in front of them as much as they need to see me perform, and it's therapy for all of us. So I think they'll give me a little bit of a break if I need some WD-40, which I'll have on deck.
Oh, yeah. Well, you did actually do a interesting social distancing stand-up for America's Got Talent for, I think it was season 15, and
Yes.
where you just actually performed for just the judges. I don't think there was actually a live or a large audience there. So how was it performing for just the judges themselves?
Well, because of who the judges were, Howie Mandel, Simon Cowell, because of who they were, I was nervous out of my mind. But it didn't bother me that I was performing in front of no one because, as comedians all know, no matter what your level, you've performed in front of 5 friends before, which is probably either your friends or just other comics. So because of, the comedy grind in itself along the years, like you can be at San Diego Civic Center on a Friday night in front of 5,000 people and then come to a small boutique show in LA and it's 15. So that part I was already, I was used to doing that part when not having a crowd. It was just being in front of, Simon Cowell and Howie Mandel. And these guys are career changers, just that platform alone is one of the largest platforms a comedian can actually perform on. So that part I was super nervous, but once I got going, and we did have like the crew, which shout out to the gaffers, lighters, all those set producers, because they got to watch. And once you heard those guys chuckle, you were like, okay, I'm doing something right now. So it was a great experience, and I'm super grateful for it. Don't get me wrong, I had that moment because I'll never forget it was March 13th when we actually started filming, and I'm superstitious, and I was like, oh Lord, it's Friday the 13th.
Oh,
Please don't let me hear that buzzer. So I'll never forget. And then it was really scary for me because we filmed March 13th, and then around March 16th, production contacted me and said, hey, another comedian on the show has COVID, so you might want to get tested. And this was way back in the beginning when the hospitals would tell you, can you breathe? Okay, then we'll come back later. What?
Oh, man.
Did you just hear me say that I was in close contact taking a mouth open? When you take those photos when your mouth is open?
Yeah.
That's the kind of picture I'm taking with him. And because he was a comedian, that's who I hung out with the most, because you're going to hang out with like-minded people.
Yeah.
And then to find out, thank God, big ups to Michael Yo, thank God he's okay now. But it was really scary. And I just was like, so wait, what? So it was quite the experience. But I tell you that too, because we didn't know. And, unfortunately I didn't get to advance on because I didn't have a place to perform. And I'll never forget, I have a great story with that, because We were doing it virtually. We went every different place in my apartments. I live on a major street, so we were even trying to put me in front of my apartment complex and have everyone come out on their patios and
Yeah.
have me do it with them. And it was just no place. And so I'll never forget. I'll tell you that night, my girlfriend was over. She was here with me when we filmed. And I remember looking at her and I was like, I think I'm upset. And she goes, you have every right to be. And so I was upset. I was in my feelings like, woe is me. That night coming home around 1:30, because I had to take her back home because she stayed over with me, I get a phone call and I'm already in my worst mood. And on top of that, it was private. So it's booty call hours and it's
Yeah.
private. So you already know when I picked up the phone, it was like, hello. And it was an English lady. And she goes, oh, hello. I'm sorry. Is Crystal Powell there? And I was like, well, this can't be a bill collector because it's after 9. So I got myself together and I was like, yes, this is she. How can I help you? It's freaking Simon.
Oh, wow.
And he goes, that felt horrible. And I wanted to say, you think? But I was just so excited that he called me and he was like, hey, he goes, I liked you the minute you stepped out on that stage. He goes, and I love you even more now for standing up for yourself. He was like, unfortunately, this is just where we're at with COVID. But he goes, I promise you, if you can just keep moving forward, he goes, you have such a bright future. That was all I needed. I said, y'all heard what Simon said, right?
Yeah.
So, that's what made me get out of I don't even want to say I was depressed, but I was upset about it. But, you can never take it off of my resume. I have a great story to tell about Simon Cowell. And I auditioned, made it around on America's Got Talent, and as myself doing my craft. And that's amazing for a little girl out of Tatum, Texas. So I have no complaints except for to have more money and lose a few more pounds. But I think that's everybody.
Oh, yeah.
At least so.
Did you get a chance to meet Terry Crews? Because I think he was also like the host, or I saw him during the...
Yes, Terry Crews is the host. I got to see him do the pec chest in person. And
That's
yes,
his
ladies,
thing.
they do jump up and down. Yeah, that's his thing. Bow, bow, bow. And what people didn't realize too, he is his shoe game. Terry Crews has an amazing shoe game. I'm like Tony Baker. I never knew. But he was great. He was very, very encouraging. And before you go out on stage, he, talks to you and tries to, get your mind right and get your nerves right and let you know. Also, like, man, it's almost like a great moment before you hit the stage, because he reminds you, wow, look where you're at. And that's what I have to do with myself, like right now, like, because of COVID and because we're all inside and it just happened, like, until I do interviews or until I'm around other comics, you forget. And this goes for people that are teachers, that, are musicians, or that, are engineers. A lot of times we can accomplish a goal. And once we accomplish it, it's history. It's like on to the next. No, we need to sit in that and celebrate. Celebrate ourselves. You know what I mean? Because it's nothing wrong with continuously wanting to advance and to better yourself. But we have to remind ourselves on a daily basis of how badass we are, each and every last one of us. And it don't have to just be entertainment. Like, I know some teachers out there that are getting raises that y'all really, really need, because everyone realizes that their kid, little Timmy, is bad now that they've actually had to raise them and homeschool them. So those teachers that are getting those raises, hey, don't move on. Sit in that raise. Sit in the fact that someone recognized you and your great work to give you more money. And that's beautiful. And that's what I had to do with myself, and continuously remind myself, come on, bitch, you good? You straight? You all right? It's just the world is shut down right now. So I just try to bask in the things that I'm grateful for, which are my health, my family, having a roof over my head, and the rest, I don't know when, but I am faithful that it'll come.
And you were great on America's Got Talent, and obviously it's unfortunate that you couldn't pursue further with it. So I'm curious, like, what got you interested in trying out for America's Got Talent in the first place?
So I saw, like, a couple of years ago, I saw a comedian on there. It was Preacher Lawson. I loved him on there. And then I was like, man. So then even after that, I saw, it was Jackie Fabulous. She's another comedian that done it. And I was like, I want to do this. So last year, I actually went to audition before this season, and I started feeling myself because the line was long, and I was like, I'm Crystal Powell. I'm not sitting in that line.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not doing that. But then the more I watched, I was like, let me go get in this line real quick. So I literally went and got in line, and then I did have another. She's gonna kill me, Nylia. She's a producer from there. She sought me out on Facebook. So between the two, me going back and forth with her, but I went through the full process of going to get a ticket, getting in line, staying there all day, and performing. So it was just something that I saw. And when I saw what it was doing to their careers, because every comedian that has been on that show tours the nation. They tour the nation.
Oh, yeah.
I think Lawson has a show right now. Jackie Fabulous is doing great. So that's what I wanted. And I went out to do it. I don't know if they would have me back for another season just because of how this one went. I hope that they would. But if they don't, I'm content with what happened because I get to talk to people like you. Once we open back up, I'm going to be full on back on the road. And the opportunities are endless. So I'm excited.
Awesome. And before you got into comedy, I heard you actually had a couple of jobs. One of them I've heard you mention before is that you used to do professional football. So what were you doing in that field?
Okay, so a lot of I know the braids and the makeup and the glam will make you think like, oh my God. But actually, yes, I am an athlete first. Like I went to an all black college, HBCU, with big ups to Prairie View A&M. So it was all about, the way you look and now how you play. Yeah. But yes, I was working at a collection agency. And it was NCAA time, and we had a board up, and there was me and another lady that were on the board, and she looked at me and was like, because I was winning, and she said, "Oh, your boyfriend must be helping you with the bracket." And I'm like, "Why does a girl?
Oh yeah.
Why is it that I don't know about basketball?" And she goes, "You don't even look like you." She goes, "I played football," so she bet me that I wouldn't come to her practice, which was football, and that I would not make the team. So went to her practice, made the team. Now I will say this. It was 2 to 3 weeks before we put on pads. So the beginning was easy. It was just it was athleticism. It was running routes and drills and conditioning. So I was like, this is easy. Until the coach said, okay, now we're going to put on pads and we're going to go full contact. I was like, and even then I was like, long as you fast. And no, sir. Nope.
Oh, man.
No. I respect football players. I really respect the NFL because that's the highest level. And those guys, I mean, you got a receiver anytime you got a receiver that's 6'4", that's big man weight.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll never forget, I started off as a receiver until I got body rocked one good time. And I'll never forget laying on the ground, and my girlfriend came and she said, and I was like, am I bleeding? And she goes, no. And then I had gotten hit so hard, my helmet came out. And then I said, hey, but what about my hair? She said, everything's fine. So got hit, got body rocked, helmet got knocked off. I was worried. I was like, am I bleeding? Is my hair still straight? And she was like, yes. And I was like, please help me get up. And of course, when you've been down for so long, when you get up, I didn't know this then, and it wasn't registering when I watched football. Everybody started clapping, and I was like, oh my God. And she was like, yeah, so just limp off. The next day, I literally thought I had been in a car accident. My entire body was just so sore. And so after not being able to catch the ball, because now anytime you would throw at me, I was always looking behind me instead of looking to put my hands on the ball. Yeah. So then I got turned over to be a corner. But then that time being that, you never wanted to be the person that got scored on. So you're out there like, please don't come to my side. Please don't come to my side. Please don't throw to my side. It was a great experience. I did get a Super Bowl ring out of it. But when I went to my coach at the end of that first season and I was like, hey, I don't think I'm going to come back for next season. He said, okay, I can see that. I understand that. This has been great. You were fun. But it's an intense sport. So kudos to all the football players, all the rugby players, all the soccer players. That's that type of strenuous, even the boxers I'm learning now, like, these sports, like, you're putting wear and tear on your body, but
Oh, yeah.
football, yeah. So I know it looks like it, but yes, your girl's an athlete.
Yeah, well, I mean, I sympathize with knocking out the helmet. It happened to me one time when I played high school football, and I think I was a senior and the kid was a freshman. I want to say that he was probably one of the smallest people on the football team, but the way he tackled me was like through my legs. As soon as he knocked me out, the helmet went off, and
Helmet
I'm like,
flew off. Yeah.
oh man, it's like yeah,
Painful. Yeah. It's an intense sport. Like,
oh yeah.
I take my hat off to him because we yeah, it was a great experience. I'll never do it again.
And another job that you had was actually you were a teacher, but I've heard you mention before that you were maybe a teacher for just a week. So what happened that you were only a teacher for a week?
Well, the kids, see, my mama used to, I'm like, I can't keep reiterating it enough. Being from the South, I feel like it's just a different set of rules. And because I only grew up there, then that's all I can, go off of. But my
Yeah.
mother could look at me and I would know, freeze. I would know to probably look to strangers to see if I could go home with them, because I knew going home with that lady, I was going to get killed that night. So the kids nowadays, they just they don't care. You know how they say kids are brutally honest? See, the problem
Yeah.
is these kids have everything at their fingertips. Our parents could lie to us back when we were kids, and we had no idea, no way. We just knew to believe our parents.
Oh yeah.
Now a kid can ask Siri, they can ask Alexa, they can ask anybody, or they can go online for themselves. And these kids are just brutal. So yeah, I will never forget teaching school. My sister teacher, I had to have my kids read out loud, just go around, and they were seniors. They were like, "Why are we in 12th grade reading out loud?" Because that's all I can do with y'all. But my classroom was so out of control that I had to leave my door open. So if my sister teacher heard, she could come over and help me and give me some type of escape. But as they say, black don't crack. So I graduated in June, and then in August they were just too brutal, and I was doing everything from driving, coaching, teaching, driving the school bus, all these different things, and wasn't bringing home $2,000 a month. And I'm like, come on now. So if we haven't learned anything from this pandemic, pay our teachers more,
Oh,
pay
yeah.
our teachers more, pay our teachers more, because y'all see now that all the notes that she used to send home about little Timmy, she was not picking on little Timmy. Little Timmy is not timeout worthy.
Oh yeah.
Every child is not timeout worthy. Some of them need a little, even if, you know what, you see this meat right here? If you just grab them right, ding, ding, if you just get them right there, that'll get them in line. That'll
Oh
get
yeah.
them together.
Oh,
Yeah, that thin meat, that little thin skin, that'll get, that's not a whooping, but just get their attention, because these kids now, they don't care.
oh yeah.
They're brutal. They're horrible.
And I've seen like substitute teachers like on their first day, like just cry or break down just from 17-year-olds, like teenagers from troubled backgrounds, just get in their face and just make fun of them. Oh my God. Like
Yes.
I have a respect for teachers since I was in high school, but like during this whole quarantine situation, I think people are now appreciating teachers a lot more.
Yes.
But I've always
They
respected teachers.
They should be. They should be. If not, I don't know what's wrong with them. But if you didn't appreciate your kid's teacher before
Oh yeah.
now, like, everyone should be writing like love notes to their kids' teachers, because we see now. And I'm proud. And you know what? I probably would have been a Benadryl baby. I know that my mother gave me Benadryl, like Pedialyte, when I was a child, just to get me to calm
Oh
down. I
yeah.
know she did. I know she did.
I've seen before a few postings of you and actually Kiana Dancy, who you mentioned that is your sister in comedy. And I love
Yes.
Kiana Dancy. She was on the episode a while back, and I really had a great time with her. How'd you two meet and just become close friends?
Kiana came out. I met Kiana first in LA. And, I hate the topic or the discussion. Everybody wants to say that, women can't get along, female comedians don't get along. And I haven't ran into that. I have not ran into that at all. Like, you'll go to a show, you'll have 5 comics, only 1 woman. And I recently just saw a show with Kev on stage. He did an all-female lineup, the socially distanced comedy show. And it was
Mhm.
all women. And it was an amazing show. So the minute I met Kiana, I knew immediately, because it was always about sharing information. Hey, did you hear about this? Hey, did you hear about this? Hey, they're looking for this. They're booking this. Hey, they're doing this. And every time we got together, it was just about sisterly love. Like, I even actually so recently got upset with her because she was being adamant and on top of me handling my business. And I was like, hey, I need a minute. But it's just that true sister type situation where you just want to see each other succeed. You want to see each other do well. And in this business and in this industry, you need a team. And I'm not talking about your publicist, your manager, your agent. I'm talking about your friends that'll help you self-tape. I'm talking about your friends that you can call and say, they told me I didn't get to part because I'm fat. And they're going to say, no, girlfriend, you look good. They just didn't know what they was looking for. You need that team. And Kiana has been that for me, along with so many other female comedians, you know, in the industry. And I can call them friends. And we need that. You cannot be in this industry alone. You might be on stage alone, but there's no way that you're going to make it in this industry by yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Surround yourself with like-minded people that are driven, that are creators, that are creative and want to create, and it'll rub off on you. Like I always tell my nephew, like, you cannot be the smartest person in your group. If you are, get out of it. And that's another thing. A lot of people are always like, oh, you know, you don't have to be in LA or New York or Chicago to make it. No, you don't. You're absolutely right. However, you are what you eat. And if you're surrounding yourself with creators and people that want to create, that's going to rub off on you. And it's just a larger pool in the larger cities.
You're definitely right. I mean, especially being around like-minded people. Like, if you hang around negative people, you should start questioning yourself. Because,
because misery loves company. And why is it that you want to hang out with it? Yes, because especially after someone shows you, and we say this, but we don't take to heed to it. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Believe them. So if you see that someone or something is toxic, and you continue to put yourself in that, now it's start to do some self-checking and some accountability to ask yourself, why is it that I know the formula now that A plus B over there equals toxic, and I'm putting myself in it. Why am I doing that? So now you can no longer, I've even started saying, like, if somebody's like, oh, well, what's wrong? I can no longer say Joe or Jim or such and such piss me off. I'm unhappy because I'm choosing to be unhappy. Yeah. I'm putting myself in that situation. And I try my best not to anymore, because life is too short. Yeah. And I know every day isn't going to be about chiffon and Skittles and pink graffiti, but at least 28 of the 30 days need to be.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And go where you celebrate it. Go where you're celebrated. Go where they're going to be like, oh, those are some beautiful blue eyes. Well, come on in here. I think I will. Go where you celebrate it and choose the least resistant path.
Oh, yeah.
We want to choose the hard one. It's like, no. All my life I had to fight. No.
Well, an interesting project that you've actually produced on your own, and from what I've noticed, that it's kind of been a baby of yours that you've been actually starting up for a couple of years, that recently you just got a chance to finally start doing, was your Coffee with Crystal program. So what got you interested in starting that?
What got me interested in starting that is not waiting for someone, not waiting for Hollywood. Like, of course, my dream job right now, I would love to be a TV host or sit on a panel with other like-minded people and discuss, topics and what's going on in the world and highlight, superstars in the world. But of course, right now, hello, they hadn't called yet. So instead of waiting on them to call, I did my first season myself on a sardine and saltine cracker budget, and it came out all right. And now we're getting ready to shoot season 2. We have sponsors as well as, a budget and some production behind it. So I can't wait to see what it's going to be like with some actual money and production behind it. But yes, it's my baby, and I wanted to put out into the world what I wanted to see myself doing. So I feel like and this is for anyone else, like if you have projects that you want to work on, you can't wait. Like if you want to see yourself playing a detective, write a screenplay or write a short series and put yourself in it as a detective. Now you're giving someone a visual to see you, but you're also giving someone a visual, because think about it. When it comes to these big productions, you're talking about millions and millions of dollars, and you've got to persuade someone that they can trust their project and their money with you. So I think if you can show that, hey, I'm willing to do this with my own budget and my own money and my own blood, sweat, and tears, then I think they'll be more likely to trust you with theirs. And if they don't, hey, you got your own project. Now, as you see, we have all these different platforms. YouTube stars are just like television stars. Put it on YouTube, let it live there, get your fan base to come there, and you've got your own TV show. So I tell people all the time, that's the biggest advice that I can give to anyone. Do not wait on Hollywood to call. Don't wait on the chivalry. Don't wait on the cavalry to come, because they're not coming. And create your own projects, put your own blood, sweat, and tears and your own money into it. And why work so hard to make someone else rich when you can do it yourself? So, Coffee with Crystal.
Oh man. And yeah, I mean, you're not kidding. Like anything could really, like any platform can really blow you up. I don't know if you've heard about that. I think it's guys like Dogface or 420 Dogface, where he was just a boy with the ocean spray drink, and instantly, I guess he just went viral and became famous.
He was just on Chris Cuomo this morning.
Oh wow!
Ocean Spray gave him a brand new truck.
Oh man!
Tony Baker did his voice up. Like it's crazy.
Oh,
but you've got so many people, and I just tweeted the other day. I was like, I woke up feeling inspired, and I keep dropping these names because these are guys that I've seen personally create their own, not even a lane. They created their own freeway. Tony Baker, Tahir Moore, Kev on Stage, the 85th show, which is Chico Bean, Carlos, DC Youngfly. These guys did not wait on Hollywood to call them. They created their own lane online. And now Hollywood is like, hey, y'all want to come work with us? And it's why would I give Netflix a percentage of my money when I can do it all on my own? So, and when you and that's when you have those types of people to be around and to look at, because it's one thing when someone says, hey, I did it this way and you can do it too. But when you can see someone from A to Z, you've seen them put in the work. You've seen them, we have to do things as if Hollywood is paying us already. So just like, not to say this isn't a big production, but this is a big podcast on Spotify, like Joe Rogan, you getting $100 million for it. And that's what it is. And we have to treat our projects just like that, especially if we want to attract that. So don't forget me when you get your $100 million deal.
Oh, never.
All right.
Your program is really great. I got a chance to see a couple of episodes of it, but just curious.
Thank you.
Something that you really want to do and continue. Who are some of your dream guests that you would like to interview?
It's funny. I just did a guest list today of a mock one, and what I'm hoping, so I'm putting it out there now. Of course, I would love to have Tony Baker, Tahir, Kev, D-Lay, Angela Hoover, Lulu Gonzalez. Who else did I have on there? Ron G. And these are just, and this is the reach, because a lot of people might be like, I've never heard of these guys. And if you haven't, I don't know where you've been. But that's the guest list that I'm actually trying to reach out to right now. Now, of course, once I do make it to the next level, I would love to have people like Whoopi Goldberg and, Lily Tomlin. Like, you couldn't tell me as a kid that I wasn't going to marry a Puerto Rican named Ricky, because I loved Lucille Ball was everything to me. So, I love female comedians. Wanda Sykes, I would love to have her on there so I could tell her that, yes, they do give Black people ibuprofen when we go to the emergency room instead of, the serious stuff. So there are tons of people I would love. I've been around Dave Chappelle a few times. I was around him last year in Montreal at one of the festivals, and I've never been able to have a conversation just to, hey, she's a comic. Hey, the awkward, because he's Dave Chappelle. But I would love to have someone ultimately like that on my show, because I would love to know how he can make this social climate right now funny. Like, that's how I grade my comedy. When I look at a comic and watch a comedian, someone like Dave Chappelle, and he can turn 846 into something magnificent. I'm like, let me throw my whole joke book around. Don't nobody want to hear about titty sweat when this man is sitting up here telling. So those are people that down the line that I would love. But as far as like season 2, I'm hoping that list of, because we have 8 episodes, I'm hoping that list is who will be on season 2.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And you mentioned Whoopi Goldberg, and I've heard that you're a big fan of her. So why has she been a big inspiration for you?
She's been a big inspiration because she followed the funny. Like if you watch Whoopi's work, like Whoopi Goldberg was someone that you forgot that she was a woman, and she was just funny. That was another reason that I loved Lucille Ball. Lucille Ball was the opposite. She was so beautiful, and she made you forget that she was beautiful. Whoopi Goldberg never did any self-defecate, like, you know, where some women comedians, they feel like, oh, well, she's too pretty or she's too this, so she has to start attacking herself.
Yeah.
Whoopi never did that.
Yeah.
And Sister Act, I'm so glad. So if Whoopi, if you hearing this, please put me on Sister Act 3.
Oh,
y'all, if y'all are listening, if y'all are in the universe, if anybody is, if Whoopi Goldberg, if Miss Goldberg is your third cousin, or if y'all both take y'all pets to the same place to get groomed, please drop a note to Miss Goldberg. Miss Whoopi Goldberg, please put me in Sister Act 3, please. Oh, that would be oh my goodness. Can you believe it?
Well,
yeah.
Isn't that where Lauryn Hill got her big break in Sister Act 2? Is
yes.
that where people...
Yes. So let's put that in the universe.
Oh, yeah.
I'm here for it.
And I've heard you mention before that a big name that you've actually worked with in the past was the late Robin Williams. So how is it working with him?
You know what? Robin was before I actually even really knew I wanted to do stand-up. I was wanting to just be an actor. And I always tell people this, and people that know me, they'll be like, she's telling the truth. People can smile. I can tell people's mood, their spirit by their eyes. And the moment I met him, his eyes were smiling at me. I was just so excited because he hadn't said 2 words, and his eyes just were so happy and full of life. Yes, there was pain in there. That's pretty much most comics. The late, great Richard Pryor used to say, you know, laugh through our pain. Like the worst pain is the best on stage. So you could tell in the distant that, you know, there was some pain there, but he was just such a happy person. And, you know, I was an actor, didn't even have my SAG card at the time. And I'll never forget, it was Robin Williams, Don Cheadle, and Harrison Ford, and Calista Flockhart, his fiance at the time. And so everyone was kind of like being a little stiff because, you know, these are people we've never heard of before. And you've heard this on sets before. If a background artist gives the main actor eye contact, that's grounds to get fired.
Oh, man.
So everybody was doing all types of stuff, and we were all like, we're nobody, so let's just kind of stay out of the way. He was like, what's your name, girl? All right, let's get to it. What we doing? Hey, y'all. And he was just, it was like he was my cousin. And I was like, your eyes are smiling, you're a good person, and you're nice, because it's the worst thing to meet someone that you think is like just this great artist, and they're talented, and they're so funny, and they're all of these great things, and then you get to meet them and they're a butthole, and you're like, oh yeah, you don't even like them anymore. You're like, you're not as talented as I thought you were. Which I get it, everybody wants a break, but come on, guys, because artists are no one without fans. We're no one. Like, if we don't have anyone that wants to watch our content, or that wants to hear us talk, or that wants to watch our videos or come to our shows, we're nobody. So I never understand, you know, when you find an artist that's great, but they're a butthole. It's like, come on, man. So Robin Williams, yes, he was absolutely amazing. I have his book as a memento in there, and of course I was devastated, but that's the same thing with America's Got Talent. That's something that'll never leave me. It'll always be on my resume, and I'll always have that dear to my heart, because he was one of the, you know, first people that I ran across that made me say, oh my God, I want to do stand up. This is what I want to do. And this guy is great.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, Crystal, we're at a recurring segment in this podcast called Words of Wisdom. So this question is, share with us a quote you live by and tell us why.
Quote that I live by, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Mental health is so important. Everyone's dealing with everything. And it doesn't, my mom used to always tell me, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. But sometimes what you need to say, even for that person, needs to be said. You know, it might be like with me, I'm working on telling people how I feel because I hold things in. And then the next thing you know, I've already left the building. They're like, wait, where'd you go? And I was like, oh, I didn't tell you my feelings was hurt 2 hours ago. So I'm leaving. So I'm working on being upfront about how I truly feel. But there's a difference between me saying, hey, you hurt my feelings when you said A, B, C, D, versus you better not say that shit no more. You say some bullshit like that to me again, it's going to be some problems. So I always tell people, you are absolutely very accurate at all times to express yourself. And any emotion that you're having is the right emotion. You don't have to live in it, but allow yourself to feel that so you can identify it, so we can try not to allow it to happen again. So a lot of people do need to say those things and get those things off their chest, but just be careful in your delivery. So it's always not what you say, it's how you say it.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. Well,
you're welcome.
Since we're wrapping up, is there anything you want to share with our listeners?
Yes, listeners, please, please, please. The Funny by Nature tour presented by Miss Vivica A. Fox. We are kicking off our tour this weekend in Texas. So Friday, we're going to be in Austin at Victory Girls, Saturday in Houston at Grooves, and Sunday in Dallas at Hyenas. But in case you're not ready to get out, I understand it. I completely understand it, and I respect it. Please, please, please get a virtual ticket. Go to besmoothent.com to get your virtual link so that you can join in on the funny and burn some calories and have some fun. And forget for just a few moments how terrible the world is right now. But I promise you it's going to get better. At least I hope.
Yeah, definitely will. But, I appreciate this conversation that we've had. Obviously, I've had a great time just talking with you and chatting.
Yay!
With you.
Yay! I'm glad. Me too. It went by quick. I was like, dang, okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's good though, because usually some people would be having a stare-off contest, like, okay, you gonna blink, I'm gonna blink, you gonna blink. So this was great. Great interview. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the research, because sometimes people be like, oh, well, you're from Mississippi, right? What? Crooked letter. Yeah. No, I'm not. Oh, yeah. So I do appreciate that, the professionalism, and I would come back anytime you would have me.
Oh, definitely, definitely. But Crystal Powell, thank you so much for joining us on Irie Chat, and best of luck on everything.
Thank you so much. Follow me, Crystal P Comedy, guys. Really appreciate it, and have a wonderful work week.
Thank you.
And eat all the cake you can.
Oh, yeah.
All right.